Okay, I think we are live.
All right.
So do you want to just kind of recap where we
So
rolled from here to get to here?
absolutely, yeah. So I'm delighted to be speaking with you, Galen. I really love your work around, I know you have a book out, Decoding Your Kink, and I just feel like this is a part of our sexuality and truth and authentic, sexuality, as you talk about, that many of us have hidden and kept pushed down. Our society hasn't welcomed it. And so we just sort of like, there it is. And so we're stuck with this sort of like, as you talk about, this friction sex model that, goes so far to do what it does until we get older sometimes, and then our bodies don't respond and the same way they used to, right? And then it's like, now what? We're kind of like dead in the water sexually, but we're not, because there's so much more. So that's why I'm like, this is exciting to me, this topic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, to preface a little bit before we hit this idea of what to do when you're over 50 and things aren't working like they used to, this idea of sexual authenticity and your birthright to be who you are sexually, and addressing the shames and the fears, and unfortunately even then the traumas that one might have experienced, that are at this point blocking them from being able to enjoy or express or be honest about their sexuality. So this is an opportunity, and I think the culture is reaching a point where this is sexuality is being recognized as well. This is a very powerful and potent and important and integral part of who we are. And we can see from what happens in all of the people being out of integrity and getting busted and caught, and things of lying and sneaking and hiding that you see on the news every week: teacher, politician, sports figure, whatever, priest, minister. We see this incredible facade that's held up about how we are upright. We don't think about sex. We don't talk about, we're not sexual. We're just good people. And this is certainly not the truth, because there's an epidemic of people leading secret sex lives, and confronted with, or running parallel to, this incredible emergence of sexual expression and exploration and experimentation on the other hand. So, we're heading for some sort of sexual reckoning, because this is unsustainable. The psychological burden, that the trauma to the families and the people, the relationships, and all of this sexual secrecy brings about is really calling. I think the call is to let's learn to be honest about our sexuality. Let's learn how to make it a part of all of us, who I am, and I am this way sexually, as well as all the other things, and to be able to just address that honestly with a potential partner and say, well, this is what I'm really enjoy and what I want to explore, or what I have done, to find out if you're compatible or not. You might not be. If you don't talk about it, you don't know. You'll find out at some point along the way. But I think we're in a renaissance, or almost, from one point of view, in terms of this incredible wave of sexuality that's came upon the culture and has opened up tremendously, and kind of taken off this narrow view that sexuality had been held in for centuries, a millennium probably even. And so this is a brand new territory too. So it's kind of like the Wild West. It's not, so it's complicated territory, and then people are exuberant, excited, it's in an adolescent phase in a way. And this is where everybody's, like you're a teenager, you're excited. Yeah, I want to do stuff, but you have no sense of your responsibility, or the risks involved, or the etiquette, or the preserving the connection of the humanity to whoever you're engaging with, and consent, and all of those elements really need. This is like entering the adult stage of sexuality. Yeah, we need to be talking about consent and negotiation, and histories, and likes and wants, and all of the things and learn how to really allow this depth and richness of our sexuality to have a place to play. You have to create the right and container, I'll say, an
Hmm.
environment for your engagement with a partner to allow all of this rich possibility. So, we need sex ed for adults. This is the time
Yeah, we
to
need some guardrails here, right? I mean, yeah.
really, people need some guidance, I think. I mean, this is so new, and there's a lot of people pioneering. I mean, that's what is going on. People are pioneering this new territory, and that's what I feel I'm doing, but in terms of the psychological profession and that lens, I'm trying to bring in a broader set of tools. And this is what I think sexual integration, it makes a lot more sense to me than porn sex addiction therapy. For many
Right,
people,
right.
it
It's really
is
broader than
really,
that. It's much more
yeah,
expansive. It's not these narrow fix this, fix that, but let's look at, yeah, I love that.
yeah. And also, like you mentioned earlier, with another, this infidelity, I think porn and sex viewing again is the symptom. It's not the problem. It doesn't matter what porn somebody's viewing and how often or whatever. The problem is what if they're hiding, sneaking, lying, cheating, being out of integrity, and taking risks they shouldn't be taking for their family, when the family's involved, or being irresponsible in other ways, and all of that's the problem. And
Yeah.
then why is someone so afraid? This is what I call sexual authenticity disorder. And this is the extreme fear of revealing or other people discovering the true nature of your authentic sexuality, the frequency that you might engage in, the pantheon of uh, sex possibilities that you might be entangling or engaging with. So I think this is a much more closer to a disorder than sex porn addiction. I mean, I think this
Mm,
captures what's underneath the sex porn, the compulsiveness of the sex porn urges. Not that people don't uh, look at porn excessively or compulsively, and but again, that's a symptom of uh, first off, I want to know, so, well, what is your sexuality? I mean, are you getting to engage it fully, and is it a part of your life? I mean, and, I think that's what is kind of the foundation of anything. That person should be known that, oh yeah, it's okay if you like that kind of porn, or you're into that, or anything, as long as it's consensual and legal and uh,
right. Yeah.
those kinds of things, that it isn't, there's no judgment about what porn someone might be watching, if it can be done consensually, or even if it's just fantasy. Uh, but anyway, yeah, so this is a big topic. We can cover a lot of things about that, but I just did want to contrast sexual integration therapy model to the sex porn addiction treatment model, and how that they're dealing with the symptom. And I think the core problem is, what's the truth of your sexuality, and how are you operating it, or what's up that it's your secret about it? What's the fear,
Hmm.
and what, because that person should be brought to the place where, no, it's absolutely natural for you to be who you are. It's okay. You can watch
Right,
that all
right,
you want, and it's fine. But can you tell, first be honest with yourself, then how do I learn to
right.
be honest with my partners, or anyone who's relevant? You also have a right to privacy too. It's nobody else's business uh,
Right, right.
about what you're up to, and uh, so you share it with who's important to you.
Appropriately, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
With the people you trust. Yeah. But I think that's been demonized so much. I mean, so much about, porn, or, certain interest that someone might have is just like, it's not okay. You can't want that, or something like that. And I think also,
yeah,
not to get into stereotypes, but I think a lot of women are threatened by it, and
mhm,
it's like, so men like, got to hide that, or, they've been caught when they're young, and those like early experiences with someone
mhm,
shaming them. It's like it lives in the body, right? It takes a while to kind of uncover and be willing to risk like what what's really true for you. And so even that journey, that self-discovery is like the first, bold step that one needs to take.
Yeah, and this is very difficult in relationships, especially decades old relationships that have never broached their sexuality as a couple, and certainly not even individually have they probably uh, taken it. So it's an interesting phenomenon. Not sure what it is about it, but I think there is this kind of mythos that gets played out of this around porn. Caught with porn, and the wife, it's usually the man. But I mean, there's a lot of women who watch porn too. I want to be clear about that, and probably compulsively or secretly or such. So, but mostly we see the example of the man and a woman and a female male couple that it is taken as horrifying, or the betrayal of it, and all of these energies are brought up around somebody viewing porn online, and maybe they've never. I mean, there's layers or stages. So if this person is then meeting people online and going out meeting people in the flesh, and I would say that's definitely betrayal there. But I have to. I'm not. I couldn't say for sure. Is it a betrayal to be watching? I think the betrayal is the lack of integrity. Not that they were looking at porn, like anywhere they might have been lying about money or anything else in the relationship, or not being straightforward or transparent. That's really the issue. That's what's breaking trust. Not that they were watching some kind of porn, but that's made to be all about, oh my God, he was looking at this kind of porn or that kind of porn. And then does that mean, I mean, people go a little armchair psychology crazy.
They make interpretations. What
Analyze
does that mean
it.
about me?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
our relationship.
but I mean, I think the questions that get raised, are really opportunities. If you do love someone and you want to be with someone, this is okay. There's obviously a lot of pain here, and there's a lot of fear here, and or what, I don't know what's there. So whatever is there, but there's usually these kind of deeper undercurrents that I think there are ways that a couple can grow from these moments, or they might be. I mean, it can go either way, and maybe it should go either way. I mean, it'll go where it should go. Hopefully, yeah, we're not compatible, and
right. Not all relationships are meant to
split.
Continue.
Or you find a way with the love that really is there to. I mean, this is the thing. What I teach clients is you have a right to negotiate for your sexuality.
Yeah.
So and you have a right to negotiate how that fits with someone else's, your partner's sexuality. You might not get you might be able to agree to, okay, I can yield some of this for all of that I also have with the relationship. And you can find a balance to allow it. It takes a much more open-minded approach to a relationship to allow that, where someone, so for instance, someone has a lot of kink fantasies, say they're submissive and they want to be tied up or spanked or whatever in their sexual fantasies, and their partners no way about that, and they could agree that, okay, how about 3 times a week for an hour I get space to just go online, get in the mood, watch some of my favorite porn and get off. And I'm doing it, and like I want to be honest and transparent, and I could live with that if you could, and so someone could say, oh, sure, I can do that. But you also might say, then also I want to know about your sexuality more, and I'd love to learn and be able to, help you open, so this can be an opportunity, even in this crisis, to really get down to what's really the problem here. What is, and also these getting triggered into this high emotional state is often an indication of it's really not about this moment right here.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
much,
It's
this is triggering a much deeper wound, an
the
ancient
past,
wound
something, yeah, in that
that
person.
is
Absolutely.
represented in this situation here, that makes it even, not that the situation itself isn't creating its own energies, but I mean, it's can be heightened, of people's reaction can be much more,
Right.
yeah, deep, harsher in their edge, or the edge that it goes to. But
Yeah, it
so the
sounds like you're
best,
really inviting people to come in. Sorry to interrupt you there just a moment. Come in there with curiosity and really like, let's like be adventurers here together. Like, what's true for you? What's exciting to you? What is it about that you like to watch, or that experience you want to have, that lights you up? Like, and just to kind of like, beginner's mind, right? Like, what is here for you? I'd like to know that. And then there's that aliveness in that discovery together.
and to be clear, this is much better done before someone got busted, or before you went down into the
Right.
mess, to in advance, get ahead of this, and start learning to be honest, or be curious, be able to um, ask yourself, what questions do I have? I mean, what would I like to know about my partner, and what
Mm,
things do I want them to know about me? And put it in. It can be a great gift to your partner if you've both been kind of quiet and shy and not able to express much. To come take a step for yourself, to be able to
yeah.
think it out. How am I going to say this? But to come up with oh, I was watching this podcast the other day and they were talking about sexuality. It got me curious. And I was thinking, gee, I've never really asked you about your sexuality, or I've not told you about mine. Would you be open to stepping into that a little bit? I'm kind of excited by the idea. So you can come up with ways to introduce this to your partner in a way that is you getting into some mutual territory, and uh, it's not about, oh, I'm a sneaky lion, be caught in this place. It's a race to bring your sexuality into the light with your partner.
Hmm.
This can really be just such a gift to the partner who's been, I would have liked to, but has just been, too shy, too afraid to speak, too disempowered in some way, too traumatized still, I mean, unresolved, and things. And so, but just to hear someone approach you like that, your partner, maybe you've never talked about, approach you like that, can really be a release for,
Right.
you're creating safety for your partner to also be able to talk about their sexuality.
Right. And it's not a complaint about what has been necessarily. It's like, how could we expand here together? What
Hmm.
new territory can we explore? Right.
Yes. And this is also the gateway through that is often the gateway through, say, the awkwardness, or the difficulty, the shyness around that might be to start to learn to do some body to body connection.
Mm,
Just hold each other, breathe together, just
hmm.
rock a little bit, just let your bodies feel each other. And
Yeah.
it can, the bodies
Yeah.
love the attention, and the
Right. Right.
tension
Especially
is,
skin to skin, right? I mean, skin to skin,
yes,
especially. Yeah.
yeah, and touching, all over, just let your whole bodies feel each other, and that'll take you out of your head and out
Right.
of these fears and stories about the intent. These are tensions, so, and they're in the body, and so when the bodies come together, you're easing that tension, and then so your mind now is much more present and clear, and you're noticing, oh, I really like this connection is with this person, and I'm you'll be much more in the mood to be able to have or you might be, I can't say, there's no guarantee of anything, but I mean, these are some
Right.
ideas to experiment with. So first line, embodiment, being
Right.
embodied together. I do a practice called my yoga, and then there's our yoga with someone that is just what I'm talking about, bringing the bodies together to get present, to
Mm, hmm.
remember to breathe, and to
Yeah.
come
There can be a lot of
down.
settling in that experience together, and less activation and reactivity in our minds, right?
Yes. And this is a great place, as we started at the beginning, or maybe we didn't get that in the segment we were talking about, when people get to the stage of erectile dysfunction, or thinking that, oh, what good am I now? I can't get a hard on, and I'm useless, kind of, and it's embarrassing, and it's even traumatizing in some way,
and
or
women too are frustrated. Their bodies they're not lubricating as much. They don't have much arousal. It's like, I don't want to,
yeah, so
never
both
mind,
parties are getting all this incentive or belief that, oh, what's the use? It's,
right.
and we're old now. Nobody does this anyway. People don't have sex when they're old, and whatever stories, people might have about this, or we shouldn't want to have sex and such things. No, you should want to have sex. You should want to have a lot of sex. You should want to have great sex. And the opportunity is there to have great sex, with your partner. And it doesn't have to be friction based. It's like my saying is, sex is friction, eros is myth. And in that sensibility, there's all kinds of ways you can pleasure each other, entertain each other, turn each other on through these archetypal personas, that you might entertain in your sexual fantasies of daddy, daughter, mommy, son, dominant, submissive, predator, prey. You can go down to the level of the beast, of wild, fierce, to more genteel, civilized kind of, but there still is a kind of this element of one's in control, or one's in power, and one is in surrender, or so, this is that dynamic of opening to that polarity between these sexual dynamics of these two energies of one. It's kind of a mammalian almost, it's alpha beta kind of energies that we are still in, have the instincts of our mammalian and even reptilian heritage, both physically, physiologically, we have the different parts of the brain are associated with those elements as well. Certainly we still have all the instinctual responses of many sorts. And so when it's combined with eros, this energy is very compelling to play in those roles, and they're natural to people. You don't need to say, well, I want to try, and people already know often, anyway, or again, you should be exploring and opening to it if it's not clear. But there's many of these parts that I think people are already aware of, and they already are fantasizing about, have been fantasizing maybe for decades, but they've been able to share that honestly with someone. So, but this is where you can really open up your exploration of eros and playing, and just from the sensuous level in terms of touch, and not fantasizing even so much as just arousing the whole body, not just the genitals, to really allowing these personifications and our sexual fantasies to come to life in consensual play with our partner.
Yeah, you have a survey on your website too about personal erotic myth, right? You want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I would love to, because I'm just relaunching it right now. In fact, it's not operating on the website right at this moment, because it's being updated to after 7,000 responses to the initial survey, which I have a tremendous amount of amazing data now, that I am already seeing a lot of things that appear in the chart, the graphs of different things, which, these questions are exploring both the side of the sexual fantasies that someone has, and drilling down into more depth and detail and specifics of what is engaged in those fantasies, as well as an examination of and an opportunity to express all the things that have been in the way or have been in conflict with that expression and desire, as well as the origin or the beginning, of when did this part come alive, your sexual fantasy part. And interestingly enough, out of those 7,000, about 40% were alive in them, or maybe 30%, by the age of 10. And so,
Wow.
and there was a
Yeah.
range from 4 to 7 and 8 to 10. And so there was about 15% in the earlier runs and another 20% in the up to 10. So, I mean, the total of that. So, I mean, this is amazing in itself in terms of
Yeah, that's blowing
puberty.
society wide open. It's way
Yeah.
before then.
I
Yeah.
mean, and this is indicating to me, well, there's something going on. I mean, why would Eros be coming alive in these, in us? Many of us,
Mm.
I'm not just a few isolated, aberrations. I mean, this is a significant number of
Right,
people
right. I mean, a
are indicating
self-selected
that.
group that is coming to your website to do the survey. But regardless, this is a
Exactly.
lot of
It's a lot
people.
of
Yeah.
people. Yeah. It's not a random
Yeah.
survey. It's not a measure of statistically across the gene pool, but of this self-selected group that's coming to probably they're more open or interested in alternative
Yeah.
sexuality. So that they're probably from that kind of population. So I think we're getting a look at that population of
Yeah.
what the indicators are. But yeah, so this notion that these elements of our eros are so strong and alive in so many people before puberty, in other words,
Hmm.
that's really a head scratcher. You know, why,
Yeah.
what's the function or purpose of this part of us, when it's
Hmm.
not related to procreation? Is all the, you know, all of the views are, oh, it's all about the drive for procreating and adding, continuing the gene pool. That's what it's all about. But this has
Hmm.
nothing to do with that. As I'm starting to look, I don't know yet. It's too early, but I mean, these are very fascinating questions raised by these data.
Yeah. And
So
plus
the new
it's that,
one's
oh,
coming. Let
sorry,
me
go
just
ahead.
finish up. So yeah,
Yeah.
the new one is going to be launched hopefully within this month. There's additional questions. We wanted to get more insight, and also now I am affiliated with the Modern Sex Therapy Institute, and they are an accredited academic institution that has classes. I'm a adjunct professor there. I have classes, video classes for there, but they are. I worked through them to get an IRB, and I'm relaunching the survey. An IRB is an institutional review board that you need to have in order to publish the research. So I'm an independent
Mm,
research. So the first round there, I didn't have an IRB. So it's not eligible for a lot of publications, you know, and I'm working
got
on
it.
producing academic papers out of
I see. So
the
there's
research.
rigor associated with it so that it can be, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because my mission, I really am on a mission to establish the credibility of the theoretical models and therapeutic models of how to integrate sexuality and untangle all the fear, shame, trauma, and things that resist its
Yeah.
full and honest expression. So, so I'm excited to get to that point, and we're about to relaunch the survey. So, yeah, I'm gonna. I don't know when we will before an audience here, but sometime it's now sometime by mid-May it should be running and ready to go.
Nice. Yeah. Look forward to that and look forward to taking it myself and sharing it with clients. And yeah, awesome. Huh. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I mean, not in any. Well, let me think. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we could go on for hours. I could.
Right, right.
There
Yeah,
are a
yeah.
lot, but
Well, I
if
guess
we're
maybe I want to add one thing, and maybe this is kind of what you're saying too, is that I think people see it as like, oh, sexuality. Oh, yeah, I want to enjoy that. That's fun. I'm going to just, it's kind of like there's a frivolity to it, but it actually, there's a healing in it. There's a kind of reclaiming of the fullness of one's human expression that I think we kind of still haven't fully, and that's kind of what I hear you doing in the work you're doing, is that like, let's fold this into our fullness, because this is part of our human, we are sexual beings, we're sexual creatures. And so when we have that part of ourselves, accepted, on board, expressed, I mean, we have the potential to in many realms of life, not just in our sexuality, but just in our professional, in our personal relationships, and giving back to the world, in our parenting. Everything changes when there's this, like, in this flush juiciness of our full aliveness, right?
Yeah, and that's what's, I think, maybe one of the main purposes of sexuality, of Eros, is just to enliven the body, to keep one here, and
Yeah,
engaged, and because
engaged,
you feel
youthful,
back
and
here.
and
Yeah, you're
energetic, and yes.
all the worries, all the troubles, all the dark thoughts and such. I mean, if you have a really great sexual engagement with someone, suddenly you just, everything
Yeah.
is still the problems, but okay, I can,
There's refreshment, there's nourishment, and I think that
yeah, and
yeah,
connection
life
and
is better.
intimacy. I mean, you're really just deepening
Right,
your
right.
connection with your partner. I mean, if you're doing consciously
Mhm.
and mindfully the
Yeah.
possibilities of sexuality, and and that idea of oh, that sounds like fun, or I mean, when that's almost like nervous laughter to me, and
Right, right, right.
it is like, yeah, it should be fun, but I mean, there's so much depth and richness and epic, intensities of all
Yeah.
sorts. It's not just fun; it is a whole
Right,
uh,
right.
experience, an ecstatic
Hmm.
experience, and on a allowing these energies out to in the open and with another is, I mean, there's such an intimacy created by that level of trust that if you've accomplished that with your partner, to get to be open, it's profound, that you just realize, wow, this, I'm being beheld by my partner and my darkest edge, or my most vulnerable uh, expression of my desire, and you can't get any better than that, when
Hmm.
you're with a
Hmm.
partner, that you can just be exactly who you are, and they're going, I love that, or I want more, then it's like
Hmm.
an amazing, and I mean, it's true too. So I mean, when you and that's work to get to be able to get to that place. If you're with a partner and, like, and you haven't been doing that yet, you're going to have to do some work. Begin the journey, and it's a just take the
Yeah,
journey,
yeah,
just start
yeah.
and move towards that your vision of whatever you really want, and take it a step at a time, and enjoy the
Right.
journey as well.
Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
start, that's all.
Yeah, yeah. Just start. Love that. Yeah, and be willing to be awkward and uncomfortable, and like, it's
Mhm.
that's how we grow, right? Is through that.
Yeah, there's no way around it. I mean, that it's like an initiation, It's like stage fright. The
Hmm.
first time on stage, I mean, you just, but trust that, that'll be gone in seconds, once you, begin, and get going. And that's
Hmm.
why that idea, if you do feel a little nervous or hesitant, about that, this is why we talked earlier about get connected with your partner first. Start at just at the body connection level. Don't go anywhere else. It just let all that tension and nervousness just be caught and left, released in the embrace, and the feeling of just being held and being touched and just being close with your partner. Start there,
Hmm.
and then you might find an easier pathway to
Hmm.
move from there.
Right, right. Or get support if you need it. If your partner brings up something and you're like, that is so not okay with me, whatever reaction, some maybe revulsion even, that's a place to get support for both of you in some way, so that it doesn't have to stop. It doesn't have to grind to a halt because somebody brought up something that was a little bit edgy. This will bring up things that are edgy, right? And that's kind of,
Mhm.
sometimes you can do this, step through this together, just the two of you, and sometimes you might need support in that.
Yeah, exactly. So there might be moments in the journey where, okay, we're going to take a little time out. I'm going to go take care of some stuff, figure out some stuff, and then we'll come back, and the other
Hmm.
partner maybe have their own moments of that. But it is it's a stepping into your sexual authenticity is both an empowering and a healing journey. You can't go down the path of sexual authenticity or the depth of your sexuality without running into everything that's resisted for decades. So hallelujah, you're going to get to face these things you haven't wanted to look at or resolve or even know that they were still lingering yet, so but that's the process. You're going to both start to empower the desire and untangle all the fear, shame, judgments, traumas that might be there that are entangled and interfering with its fullest expression. And that other part then is the healing part. You're going to get to learn what's needed in those parts. Why are they so afraid of you just being honest about who you are, and sometimes they just need to feel a little love too. They're afraid, and this is bringing us into this period of our lives as adults. We are now the adults of our problem children, and it's not going to happen in the real world. That part's gone, but internally we're still carrying those old things. Many of us are anyway. And this is one way to start to, if they're interfering with what we really want, then it's important to start learning to take your power, because they're holding your power, and if you don't turn around and like, okay, I don't want that anymore. I'm going to change that. Something I want to change, whatever it has to be. I don't know what yet, but I'm going to look into no longer being influenced by that part of me when I'm saying I want to do this. I want to be living in my life, not that life. So this is where you start to get to see what choices you're making or who's making. I'm not even making the choice. This other part of me, and really get to the awareness that, oh, I don't want that anymore. Then you can start to do something about it.
Yeah, and welcome all these parts. Maybe these parts have so much gifts to offer us if we're able to meet them, welcome them, and like you said, integrate them, right?
Well, I think it's interesting in the dynamics of the unconscious. I've discovered that some of them is exactly as you said. I mean, they are integral parts and they want to be well said. I've also encountered this sense of what I call the inner predator. And sometimes we have these parts that it's out to fuck us over some way or other. It's not a friend. It's not helping. It's
to fuck us over. You mean like to sabotage ourselves?
Yeah, some inner part of us that is not our friend. And this is the part where it's like fighting the dragon. It's calling. The call is the hero's journey. The call is to stand up to the dragon and take the dragon on. Say no. And this is a step of personal empowerment to know your boundaries, defend your boundaries.
Right. Great to talk with you.
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying our conversation as well. So maybe beyond, you have I don't know if you can use what we have here to slice into your format.
Yeah. I'm gonna, if you're maybe, so you're recording it over there, right? So maybe if you could send me a link to it. Are you comfortable with this being shared on YouTube, for example, or?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think we covered definitely there was some little some of it, little slices that was good, or maybe the whole thing can go. But yeah, so I'll just let you just give me credit and links and such, and any of that would be good. But I have this idea of what I'd like to have someone work with me like we did here to really flesh out or give more detail to the sexual integration therapy and all kinds of things, because I kind of want to leave a trail or a record of this and also I thought of it in terms of also as a podcast or a vlog or something that would be a regular episode. I mean, ultimately, I think I'd even like it to be like a Q&A, a call-in
Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
idea, and
Yeah.
and I actually have a name of the show, and also this brings in another emotion to me, where at this stage of my career, my life, I've recognized I had always been in the sex positive community and the LBGTQIA community until I started to realize, uh, and I made a meme. I haven't published it yet, but the meme is there's no H in LBTQIA. And this means, like, as a
Right.
heterosexual, uh, I wasn't really, I was the other in a way,
Mm,
and I realized, wow, this really isn't my tribe here. I I empathize. I stood shoulder to shoulder for almost 20 years in that tribe, but I realized uh, it's not really uh, my truth. It's not my ideological position in
mm.
certain ways either. And so I went further to the stage of I took out a website name called Het Life, which is theater.
Yeah.
So, and the idea was like, wow, there's a huge market in the heterosexual world that's not being catered to or addressed by the sex positive
Mm,
world. There's no
mm,
like,
mm-hmm.
just everything has to be inclusive, include all the others. And most het people look at the LGBTQI community and like, well, that's a little too off the charts for me. Maybe I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
I think there's no
That's
het voice in the narrative
right. Right.
out there, or het point of view, or advocacy for heterosexuality. And uh, I have
Yeah.
one of my jokes sometimes when I give a talk is I go, I'm coming out as a heterosexual,
Uh-huh.
uh, be,
Uh-huh.
because it's like
Yeah.
a
I think that's a
kind of a
really good
joke,
point. I feel
but
like
it's
my expertise is more around heterosexual, male female dynamics. I mean,
yeah,
that's my lane, and it's like, it's not that I don't, celebrate all lanes of traffic, all lanes of expression. It's just, I don't personally or professionally have much experience in that. So I can
exactly.
kind of relate to what you're saying. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I kind of go in that point of view too. It's not my, you know, I mean, I actually do have, gay, lesbian, trans women of color clients and all that,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
if they want to come to me, that's fine. But I'm not. I keep thinking you really should probably find someone,
Mm,
but if they come, I will, I'll work with them. But it's
yeah.
not. But I recognize that really what I'm good at, what my skill set is
Mm,
heteronormative kind of
hmm.
insights and such. So this
Yeah.
was the podcast then was going to be straight talk for straight talk about sex for straight people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that is, right, the podcast for heterosexuals or something,
Mhm.
uh
Mhm.
so because I think one, it's like I said, it's it's 95%, 90% of the market, 85 whatever, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think that's why this Het Life would be a lifestyle portal
Mhm.
website that could have all
Right.
sorts of contributors, kind of like your Tango or any of these other
Mhm.
sites
Mhm.
that just
Yeah.
basically set up the structure, and then they get other contributors, or maybe they have a few of their own editors and things, but mostly it's a way you pay 100 a month and you get to publish your stuff on
Right, right.
there.
Like Medium or something. Yeah, one of these.
Yeah,
Yep.
all those
Mhm.
kinds of things. And then, advertisers. I mean, it seems like I don't have time to mess with it myself at this stage of things, but
Mm.
I think it's a blockbuster idea if,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
this
I,
het lifestyle sexuality, from kink
mhm.
to sacred and all. I mean, all of the good information that should be hopefully addressed or put out to the adult heterosexual
Mhm.
market, is all the things that have been in the LGBTQIA, but just the het version of them. I think a lot of valuable and important, relevant,
Yeah.
other teachers or people who have insights or anyway.
Mhm.
But if you want to I just throw it out there. I don't have any clear plan, but just
Uh-huh.
as a thought for
Yeah,
you.
no, that's great. I mean, it's interesting. One of the things that I talking about with the two men who, John and Art, are the two men who started this YouTube channel, Celebrating Act Two, is they were thinking about having, either Ask the Love Coach or Ask Michele and some kind of a call-in program, or even just people write in a relationship challenge, and then I answer it on video. And so we're in discussion about doing something like that. And it's interesting that you bring up this notion of, because I think that'd be really, it's kind of like reality, TV, but different, not like the other person necessarily on there for privacy's sake. But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in, let's stay in touch. I mean, if you have more ideas about that, I want to my intention is to be more professionally, vocationally expressed. And I'm doing some facilitation for a sex positive group, or, they have an angel room, kind of a Zoom drop-in for support people around different things. I'm just trying to, like, I reached out to you, I want to just be more engaged, more learning more, and sharing more, because I just feel like I'm also involved with the Human Awareness Institute. I don't know if you've heard of HI, they have their experiential works. I'm on team. I'm also one of their community presenters, but I've just learned so much in the 13 years that I've been a participant, and also recently in the last couple of years on team. Well, not so much during COVID, of course, but there's just like this space of living, this aliveness, and I'm in this incredible, gorgeous partnership with a man, and it's just like, life is good, and I just want everybody to have this kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
wonderful.
That freedom, that kind of liberation that comes from that is huge. And I have two daughters who come to me about their sexual challenges. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the kind of mom that
Wonderful.
they trust me. It's just, so I just love this space, and I'm thanks for taking the time to talk with me. And yeah, let's stay in touch and see what we can co-create.
Yeah. So yeah, let's let it kind of sink in and see. Maybe we'll check back in a couple weeks and just see if there's something we can get a grip on that makes sense.
Yeah, let me know about when you're going to launch your survey too, because when it's going to be IRB, when you have the board, the kind of the rigor that they need to make it.
I did get that. I have that now. So now we're
you do,
ready
but it's not quite ready to go. Okay.
Got to get it up on this other survey platform and all the technical stuff around that. But
you said mid-May, so.
Yeah, it might be sooner, but I'm giving myself enough elbow room to not shoot my mouth off and go. I was
yeah. Well, plus I'm imagining you got to, monitor, your own time freedom and your own, clients, and you're doing work with clients, you're doing work for professionals, and there's a lot going on over there. I can tell.
Yeah. But all stuff I love, so I just got to keep myself. I mean, I can get into my like. I don't want to do it. Level of things, more. Oh my God, more stuff to do. But I'm excited. A lot of good things are happening, and progress. I feel the growth of what I'm trying to do going a little bit. Not human. I haven't hit the whatever that is, the viral. It's amazing how obscure you can become on the internet. Like it's like that. You're like a drop of water in the hot desert sun. It can just.
Oh, because there's just so much. You mean there's just so much out there. You mean
and you have to be relentless, like almost to keep banging your drum.
Right.
And that's like, fuck. I hate that shit. I saw a great meme. I saved it once. There was this. It was just this picture of a long herd of sheep going off to a barn in the distance, maybe 150 yards from the beginning of the herd. You could see, I mean, it was filled, the whole chute was filled with sheep all the way to the barn. And then suddenly comes this shepherd collie running across the backs of the top of the sheep, racing up to the front of the barn, way faster, way ahead of everybody stuck in this clogged up channel. And I thought, that's somebody trying to get their meme out in front of the eyeball, into the barn quicker than everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I want to respect your time. We're going to talk for a while. One of the things that was coming to my mind, though, is you're talking about like, what is, like, I know you mentioned about leave a trail, or maybe you meant kind of legacy, but like, what are you wanting most for yourself? And that's an interesting, maybe you have an answer to that, or maybe, yeah.
You know, I would say it's just, I'm in service to the work, you know? So what I want is to carry that as far and wide as I can.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Nice.
So,
Cool.
and I mean, so whatever else that's going on, but yeah, I would most like to have, you know, wealth, money for, you know, just abundance flowing from
Yeah. Abundance
that
flowing. Yeah.
effort to mostly, I mean, I would pour it back into spreading the word. That's what I enjoy. I mean, that's my pleasure. I mean, I like, you know, I kicked back in Thailand for 2 months. That was nice, you know. And
I saw that. It was looking really good. I want to get over there.
yeah, it was lovely. I thought I'd come back to here and be, oh, I'll hit springtime. It'll be nice and warm, but it snowed 4 inches a couple days ago, and it's freezing
Are you
ass
in
cold.
Portland? Is that right?
Yeah,
You're in Portland, Oregon? Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And you're
Yeah.
in
I'm in the San Francisco Bay
San
Area.
Francisco
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
Foster City. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know my friend Corrine
What's
Farrago? No, wait, you're Michelle. What's Michelle? What's Corinne's last name? But she's from the Bay. She lives, was it Marin County or above San Francisco?
Oh yeah, Marin County. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think she's up there, but she's does kind of couples coaching and counseling. And she's
Okay.
very in her early 60s, and I can also hasn't really caught. You know, she's got a lot of great energy. I thought you might have crossed
Oh, okay.
paths.
Yeah. If you think of her last name, let me know and I'll see if I can,
Yeah.
look her up and stuff. Thanks. Yeah. Love to get
I
connected
don't
to
know
your
why I
people.
can't get her last name in my head, but I'll look it up and get it to you. And then I'll
Okay.
send you a link to our recording.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks so much.